Hi children, good morning one and all. I hope all of you are earnestly and eagerly waiting for today's video class. Yesterday I taught you the meaning of verb as one of the parts of speech and its function in a sentence, and some kinds or types of verbs also you learned in yesterday's class. In today's class we are going to see some more types of verbs, especially transitive and intransitive verbs. Verbs are further classified into main verbs, especially are classified into transitive and intransitive verbs. What is transitive verb? What is intransitive verb? How can we identify transitive verb? How can we identify intransitive verb? How can we differentiate intransitive verb from transitive verb? Don't worry children, I will explain everything in today's class. Before to deal with all these things, you should know what is an object, what is subject, what are complements, what are adjuncts. You should know all these things. Okay, fine. To begin with, let me explain the subject. What subject? It's crystal clear. It's a layman's definition. Subject is the doer of the action. Everyone of you knows it well. Subject is the doer of the action. One who performs an action is called the subject. So subject is the doer of the action. For example, in a sentence, Rama reads a novel. This is a sentence. It completes the sense. In this sentence we have 1, 2, 3, 4 words. Rama is a subject. Reads is a verb, and a novel is a noun, it is an object. Okay, here Rama is a doer of the action. What work he has done or what work he performs here? The work of reading, the action of reading. So he does the work reading, therefore he is the doer of the action. So subject is the doer of the action. Okay children, next come to the object. What's an object? What's the function of an object? How can we identify an object in a sentence? Mostly all statements begins with the subject. All statements. So you can easily identify the subject. But what is the object? How can we identify? Object is the receiver of the action. Subject is the doer of the action. Object is the receiver of the action. So object is the one who is affected by the action of the subject. Subject is the doer of the action, object is the receiver of the action, and object is also one which is affected by the action of the subject. That is why we call object as the receiver of the things, receiver of the action. For example, a cat killed a rat. Could you follow me children? Yes. Now look at the sentence. A cat killed a rat. In the sentence, a cat is a subject because it is a doer. Killed is a verb. It's a finite verb. And a rat is an object. How you can say that it is an object? Because it is the one which is affected by the action of the subject, cat. It was affected by the action. What it is affected with? Because it was killed by a cat. So it is the receiver of the action. It is affected by the action of the subject. Therefore it is called an object. So we can identify object in such a way. Again, let me give a brief definition. Subject is the doer of the action. Object is the receiver of the action. Subject is the one who performs an action in a sentence. Object is the one who receives the result of the action. It is affected by the action of the subject. Okay, nice. Okay children, next, how do you identify an object in a sentence? You may have this problem. Sir, object you know this, so you taught us this is the object. Object is the receiver. Okay sir, how can we identify? You may have such doubts in your mind. Let me explain. To identify an object in a sentence, you can go for these two questions. You should raise these two questions. What and whom? What is used also to identify subject, that is different. But here what in your vernacular language it means yadai. And then whom? In your mother tongue, its meaning is yarai. For example, a cat killed a rat. A cat killed what? If you raise this question, you cannot get that answer. Okay, go for the second question. A cat killed whom? A rat. Yeah. Now you get the answer. So, you can get the answer for any one of these two questions. See, for the first one, I will give you another example. Yeah, the same example. Rama reads a novel. Rama subject reads verb, finite verb. Rama reads what? What does Rama read? If you ask this question, you will get the answer, a novel. So this is an object. I like my mother. I subject, like verb. I like whom? Whom do I like? My mother. My mother is an object. Okay. So to identify an object in a sentence, you have to go for these two questions, what and whom. You can get an answer for any one of these two questions. Then the answer is called object. An object must be a noun. Okay. Next, objects are of two types. There are two types of objects in English. Do you know, children? I will explain how to identify such different types of object in a sentence. Yeah. Objects are two types, children. One is direct object, another one is indirect object. Objects are of two types, direct and indirect kinds of objects. Yeah, direct object and indirect object. Okay, what is direct object? Direct object is the receiver of the action. Direct object, let me write. Direct object is the receiver of the action. Direct object is a receiver of the action. What's an indirect object? Indirect object, what is it? It is one for whom the action is done. It is the one for whom the object, for whom the work or the task is done. For whom the work is done. Okay. So you may have two objects. A verb may have two objects in a sentence. If it is so, then one is called a direct object, another one is called the indirect object. What is direct object? Direct object is the one who is the receiver of the action. What is an indirect object? Indirect object is one for whom the work or the action is done. Okay. Now, let me give you one or two examples to make this area clear. See, he gives me a gift. He gives me a gift. He asked him a question. Now look, these two sentences, children. First one, he gives me a gift. He is a subject. Gives is the present form of the verb. The verb is said to be in present form. Okay. He gives what? If you ask that question, then immediately you will get that answer, a gift. So that is direct object. And the next, for whom it was given, to whom it was given, me. So it's an indirect object. I-O, this is called it E-O. So direct object is a direct receiver. And indirect object is for whom the action is done. So the direct object is the receiver of the action. Indirect object is for whom the work or the action is done. Okay. Let me give you some examples from your text. See. So now I will give you some sentences from your grammar book, textbooks. You should identify. See, a direct object is a noun or pronoun. A direct object may be a noun or a direct object may be a pronoun. But it is identified by asking the question who or what in relation to the verb. But a direct object is the receiver of the actions. That's important. Indirect object is a noun or pronoun for whom or to whom the action is done. Okay, don't forget the definition, children. Now, he bought her, see the example, he bought her an expensive pen. He bought her an expensive pen. They sent you a mail. They sent you a mail. Unma says, my mother taught me English. My mother taught me English. See, you just observe all the three sentences. These three sentences were taken from your grammar book. Okay, fine. He bought her an expensive pen. He is a subject. Bought is a main verb. This is a transitive verb. And he bought an expensive pen. This is a direct object, DO. He bought such an expensive pen for whom her is an indirect object. Okay. So, to identify a direct object in a sentence, you have to raise the question what? To identify an indirect object in a sentence, we have to raise the question whom. Okay, fine. Go through the second sentence. They sent you a mail. They subject, sent verb, a mail is a direct object. What did they send? Okay. Then for whom they send the mail? You is an indirect object. My mother taught me English. My mother is a subject. My mother taught what? English, direct object. My mother taught English for whom? Me. Taught is a verb. So me is a indirect object. Okay. So from this you come to a conclusion. Almost all the indirect objects are in the form of persons. Almost all the indirect objects are in the form of persons. And almost all the direct objects are in the form of things or objects. Okay, very good. Next, let me explain complement. These are all some basic things you should know. With the help of these things only you can easily identify transitive and intransitives. Okay, children. So now I taught you what is object, what is subject, what are the kinds of objects. Object may be a noun or pronoun. It is the receiver of the action. It is the one that is affected by the action of the subject. To identify an object in a sentence, you have to raise two questions, what and who. You may get answer for any one of these two questions. Sometimes a verb may have more than one object, that is two objects in the sentence. If it is so, one is direct object, another one is indirect object. Direct object is the receiver of the action. Indirect object is the one for whom the action is done. Okay, now clear, children? Very good. Next, what's complement? Complement. Complement is a word, maybe a noun or an adjective. Complement is a word, maybe a noun or an adjective. It comes to complete the sense. It comes to complete the sense. So it is an essential part of a sentence. Complement is an essential part of a sentence. See, it's a word. It may be a noun or pronoun. Sometimes it may be an adjective Okay, it completes a sense. It completes the sense. It is an essential part of a sentence. Essential part of a sentence. That's called a complement. Complement are of two types, subject complement and object complement. But first you should know what's complement. Mind the spelling, children. C-O-M-P-L-E-M-E-N-T. Don't confuse it. Complement, that's a gift. Okay, fine. So complement is a word. It may be a noun or adjective probably. Sometimes it may be a pronoun. It comes to complete the sense of the verb, complete the sense of the sentence and verb. It is an essential part of a sentence, a mandatory part. Okay, fine. Now let me give you some examples to identify this complement. See, he is a teacher. They are boys. It is dark. See, it's milk. They are branches of the tree. They are branches of the trees. Look here, children. Just to go through all these examples, he is a teacher. He is a subject, he is a verb, a teacher is a complement. It's a noun. Common noun. He is a teacher. It's a noun. It comes to complete the sense. So mostly you can have all these complement after the link verbs, linking verbs, be verbs. They just link or connect the complement with the subject. Okay. He is a teacher. They are boys. Here they, subject or verb, boys complement. Without that complement, the sentence does not complete its sense. It's dark. Its subject is verb, dark is a complement. It's milk. It's subject, verb and a complement. They are branches of the trees. So a complement may be a noun or pronoun or an adjective. See, I am well. He is well. So here well is an adjective. It is a complement. It comes to complete the sense. So without complement, the sense does not complete. Okay. So you can have this complement mostly after the linking verbs. After the linking verbs. Okay. Next, these complements are of two types, subject complement and object complement. Subject complement just describes a subject. Object complement just describes an object. That's the difference. Subject complement and object complement. Subject complement comes mostly after the linking verbs, but object complement comes after the object. It comes to complete, or it gives complete sense to the object, to the meaning of the object. Therefore, that is called a object complement. See, I will give you some example. Okay, subject complement and object complement. Complements are of two types. One is subject complement, another one is object complement. Okay. See, he is my brother. We are Indians. You just see these two examples. Subject, linking verb, and my brother is an object. It's a complement. It's a subject complement. We, subject, or linking verbs, Indians, complement. Yes, see, subject complement. Where you can have an object complement. Okay. He made him captain. He, subject, made verb, him, object, captain, object complement. So object complement bounds upon the object. He made him captain. He named his child Nancy. He subject named verb. He named whom? His child is an object. How he named his child Nancy is an object complement. So this is the difference. You should know, children. Subjective complements. So words which helps to complete the meaning of the verb forms complement of the verb. As they tell us something important about the subject, they say something about the importance of the subject, they are called subject complements. Complements that give information about the object of the verb are called the object complements. So subject complements gives information about the subject. Object complements give some information about the object. They come just to complete the sense, therefore they are called the complements. Okay. Could you understand, children? Very good. Next thing. Transitive and intransitive verbs. What's transitive verbs? What's intransitive verb? The main verbs are further classified. The action verbs, main verbs, are classified into transitive and intransitive verbs. Okay. Nice. What is the position of a transitive verb? How can you identify a transitive verb in a sentence? Let me explain these things. See, a transitive verb is a verb that accepts one or more objects. A transitive verb is one that is used with an object. Okay, so transitive verb. A transitive verb is a verb that accepts one or more object. A verb that accepts one or more objects is called a transitive verb. So a verb that takes an object to complete the sense. A transitive verb is one that is used with an object. So how to identify an object, as I told you already. So for example, he writes a letter. See this example. He is a subject, writes is a verb. He writes what? A letter. Letter is an object. So here this verb writes takes the object. So this verb writes is called a transitive verb. So a verb which takes an object is called a transitive verb. A transitive verb may take sometimes a pronoun as an object, sometimes a noun as an object. Okay. See, he likes me. Here he subject, likes verb. He likes who? Me. It's a personal pronoun. Object form of personal pronoun. So it's an object. Here it is a transitive verb. We like our mother. We like our mother. So it's a direct object. It's as this verb takes, writes, likes, and he drinks. He drinks coffee. So he subject, drinks verb, and then coffee is an object. So to identify whether a verb is a transitive or intransitive, you can simply apply this test. Suppose if a verb takes an object to complete the sense, then it is called a transitive verb. So a verb is said to be transitive only when it takes an object to complete the sense. These transitive verbs are many types. Monotransitive verbs and ditransitive verbs. So what is monotransitive verbs? A verbs that takes a single object in a sentence is called a monotransitive verbs. Mono means single or one. A verb that takes two objects are called ditransitive verbs. If it is so, in that case, if a verb allows two objects, then one is direct object another one is indirect object. Okay children, now let me explain that concept. So in the example, what is transitive verb? A transitive verb is a verb that accepts one or more objects. A verb that is used with the object to complete the sense is called a transitive verb. So a transitive verb allows object to function with the verb. Okay, next. These transitive verbs are of two types, monotransitive and ditransitive. Monotransitive and ditransitive. So transitive verbs are of two types, mono and di. See, a direct object is a noun or a noun phrase or pronoun that identifies what or who receives the action. They suppose in the example, he bought a book. Here he is subject, bought verb, a book is object. It's a monotransitive verb. He, ditransitive verb. He gave me a gift. He subject, gave verb. A gift is direct object and me is an indirect object. Here you have to apply, already I told you children, he gave what? A gift. For whom? Me. So it is an indirect object. So in this sentence you have two objects. One is direct and one is indirect. Then in this case, this verb is a ditransitive verb. Here the bought is a monotransitive verb. So a transitive verb is a verb that takes an object. It completes a sense with the help of an object. The transitive verbs may be monotransitive or ditransitive. If a transitive verb takes a single object, then it is called a monotransitive verb. If a transitive verb takes two objects, then it is called a ditransitive verbs. Good, you follow me children? He sells, shows, offer, buy. You can give a lot of examples. Okay, so try yourself to use all these verbs in your own sentences with the help of objects. Okay, fine. Next, intransitive verbs. See, a verb that doesn't require an object to complete the sense is called an intransitive verb. There are some verbs, they don't require any object to complete the sense. They are called intransitive verbs. An intransitive verb does not have an object. See the example. I will give you some good examples to understand the concept. Intransitive verb. A verb that doesn't require. So, an intransitive verb does not have an object. It does not require an object to complete the sense. So, it does not require an object. It does not require an object. Such verbs are called intransitive verbs. See, a baby smiles. It comes. So the sentence completes, the verb completes the sense. A baby smiles. I will give, they laughed suddenly. They laughed suddenly. Okay. And a bird flies. So go through these examples. First, a baby smiles. A baby is a subject, smiles is a verb. The sentence completes in its sense. They laughed suddenly. They subject, laughed verb. Suddenly is an adjunct. It's not an object. Don't confuse. A bird flies in the sky. A bird subject, flies verb in the sky. It's an adjunct. So in all these sentences, you don't have any object. Or you can say in such a way, these verbs doesn't require an object to complete the sense. Such types of verbs are called intransitive verbs. Okay, now I hope clear children. Verb may be transitive or intransitive. A transitive verb requires an object to complete the sense, but an intransitive verb does not require an object to complete the sense. Okay, right. See, I will explain how to identify. So see the basic problem: direct object, indirect object, and then transitive and intransitive. But whether a verb is a transitive or intransitive, how will you identify? So you can easily identify. How to identify whether an object, whether the sentence is transitive or intransitive. Sometimes a transitive sentence may be used as an intransitive sentence. The verb can be used transitively or intransitively. So you cannot say that this is a transitive verb, this is an intransitive verb. It depends upon the place where it is used. That's very important. For example, she runs fast. She runs a school. See these two examples just to compare. She runs fast, she runs a school. And he broke the jar. The jar broke. The jar broke. And many fruits falls in the rain, they fall many trees. See, a bird flies, he flies a kite. Now, you just compare these three sentences. Pair of sentences: she runs fast, she runs a school. The first one, she subject, runs, verb, fast, adjunct. So here the verb runs is used intransitively. In the second example, she runs a school. She subject, runs verb. She runs what? A school. It is used transitively because it requires an object. So a same verb can be used transitively as well as intransitively. So you cannot just say that this is a transitive verb, this is an intransitive verb. It depends upon the place where it is used. If it allows an object to come with it, then it is transitive. If it doesn't allow an object to come with it, then it is called intransitive. See, he broke the jar. Here he is subject, broke is the verb. He broke what? The jar is an object. Therefore, the verb broke is used here transitively. But in the second sentence, the jar broke. So the sentence, in the second sentence, the verb broke is used intransitively. A bird flies in the sky. A bird is a subject, flies is a verb in the sky, maybe. A bird flies in the sky. In this sentence, a bird flies in the sky. Here it is used intransitively, but the second, he flies a kite. So he flies what? A kite is an object. So whether his sentence is used transitively or intransitively depends upon the position of the verb. If a verb allows an object, then it is called a transitive verb. If it doesn't allow any object to come with it, then it is called intransitive. Okay, children? So, this should be understood like that. And based on some spelling also, we have to mind the spelling. The spelling differentiates transitive and intransitive. For that also, I will give you some example, one or two examples. So, when you write sentences, using these transitive and intransitive verbs, you have to mind the spelling, children. See, spelling difference. Many fruits falls in the rain. They fell many trees. Okay. Similarly, see, many fruits falls in the rain. It is used intransitively. They fell many trees. The sun rises. He raises his hand. See here, the sun rises in the east. The sun rises in the east. In the sentence, rise is an intransitive verb. The second, he raises his hand. He raises what? His hand is an object. Therefore, it is a transitive verb. So, a verb can be used transitively as well as intransitively. It depends upon the place where it is used. Okay. Very good. Next. Verbs of incomplete prediction. Verbs of incomplete prediction. Another one. Verbs of incomplete predication. What is it? Verbs of incomplete predication. How it is? A verb which requires the help of some other words to complete its meaning other than the object is known as the verb of incomplete predication. It requires a complement. So to complete the sense, see the example. He is a doctor. Verb of incomplete predication. Without such things, you cannot just complete this meaning. Verb of incomplete. See, he seems angry. See, the verb requires this adjective angry to complete the sense. Therefore, see, King Krishna Devaraya. King Krishna Devaraya was wise. Here we need this adjective to complete the sense. So such types of verbs, a verb which requires the help of some other words to complete its sense is called verbs of incomplete predication. Verbs of incomplete predication. A verbs which requires a verb which requires some words to complete its sense or its meaning is known as verb of incomplete prediction. It requires probably a complement. A complement may be noun or adjective. He is a doctor. He appears handsome. He looks dull. See the example. He looks dull. He appears handsome. In all these, he appears handsome. In all these examples, a doctor, it requires the noun to complete the sense. So this verb is a verb of incomplete predication. Seems and was and looks and appears. So we have a list of verbs like this. All such verbs requires a word. The word may be a noun or an adjective to complete the sense. Such types of verbs are called verbs of incomplete predication. Okay. The complement of a verb may be a noun or adjective or gerund or infinite or sometimes present participle also. I'll give you one example for such things. He is a doctor. You carefully observe all these examples, children. He is a doctor. It's me. It is me. He looks dull. He looks dull. She began to cry. She began to cry. They continued shouting. See for all the first three examples, he is a doctor. Here a doctor is a noun. It comes to complete the sense. Verb of incomplete predication, it's me, is a pronoun. Okay. And then he looks dull is an adjective. So the word may be a noun, the word may be a pronoun, or the word may be an adjective to complete the sense. Then they are called verb of incomplete predication. Okay. Thank you, children. Next, I'll give you some more examples. A word or group of words which some transverbs even after taking an object requires to make the predication complete. They are called object complement. Transitive verbs of complete predication. I will give you some more examples. So what is transitive verb? What is intransitive verbs? What are verbs of incomplete predication? Understand? Transitive verb is a verb which requires an object to complete the sentence. The object may be direct object or indirect object. A transitive verb may be monotransitive or ditransitive. Okay, let me sum up. Then intransitive verbs. The verbs which requires something, some words to complete the sentence. So they are called intransitive verbs. They doesn't require an object. They itself complete the sentence without taking an object. They are called intransitive verbs. So transitive verbs requires an object, but intransitive verb does not require an object. This is the difference. Okay. So the transitive verbs may be monotransitive or ditransitive. Intransitive verbs probably does not require an object. And then another type is verb of incomplete predication. These verbs require some words to complete the sentence. They are called verbs of incomplete predication. Most of such words may be noun or pronoun or adjectives that comes to complete the sentence. They may be complement. The complements are of two types, a subject complement and a object complement. Subject complement describes the subject. Object complement describes the object. Subject complement says something about the subject. Object complement says something about the object. See, now I will give you some example, children. Carefully listen. Rama killed a snake. Govind is eating a mango. So they are transitive verbs. And transitive verbs have complete predication because they are capable of taking a single object. So transitive, they are transitive verbs. They are complete predication because they take an object to complete the sentence. And there are some transitive verbs which, being the finite verb sentence, makes the sense that sentence complete by taking direct object and indirect object. See, Rama, another group. Rama bought me a book. Rama bought me a book. He sent me a watch. He sent me a watch. So here subject, verb, direct object, indirect object. So a transitive verb may take a mono object. A transitive verb sometimes may take two objects to complete the predication. Therefore they are called transitive verbs of complete predication. Transitive verbs of complete predication. Okay. Then transitive verbs of incomplete predication. Another type we have. What is it? I will explain. Transitive verbs of incomplete predication. See, boys made Govind captain, and then I called her an angel. The judge found him innocent. See these three examples. They are transitive verbs, but at the same time they require something to complete. Therefore, transitive verbs of incomplete predication. Boy subject, made verb, Govind object. Boys made Govind, the sentence does not complete in its sense. It requires the caption, something to complete the sentence. Therefore, transitive verbs of incomplete predication. We see transitive verbs of complete predication, transitive verbs of incomplete predication. They are object complement. OC. I subject, called verb, and her object, and angel object complement. The judge subject, found verb, him object, innocent object complement. So they are called the transitive verbs of incomplete predication. Intransitive verbs of complete predication. See, there are some intransitive verbs, but they doesn't require any object. They themselves complete the sense. For that I will give you some examples. So they are transitive verbs that require an object to complete the sense. So they are called transitive verbs of incomplete predication. Reverse flow. Wind blows. Deers run. They run. See this example. And flow, blows, run. They are intransitive verbs. They complete the sense. Therefore, they are called the intransitive verb of complete predication. So, transitive verb of complete predication, transitive verb of incomplete predication, intransitive verb of complete predication. They are called intransitive verbs. Intransitive verbs, but they complete. They don't require anything to complete the sense. Therefore, they are called intransitive verbs of complete predication. And fourth type, or the last one, is intransitive verbs of incomplete predication. There are some intransitive verbs which require something to complete the sense. They are called intransitive verbs of incomplete predication. So four types. I will give you some examples for such types of verbs. Gopal became a doctor. Rose smell sweet. He looked unhappy. He looked unhappy. All are intransitive verbs. These intransitive verbs require something to complete the sense. Therefore, they are called intransitive verb of incomplete predication. Generally, it is called verb of incomplete predication. Therefore, a verb that requires something to complete the sense is called verb of incomplete predication. They are four in types. Transitive verbs that completes the predication, transitive verbs that does not require an object to complete the predication, and intransitive verbs that requires, see, four types of verbs so far now we have seen. Transitive verbs of complete predication, and then transitive verbs of incomplete predication, intransitive verbs of complete predication, and intransitive verbs of incomplete predication. That's all. So children, so far now you have learned all these things. What is object, what is complement, and then what are the types of object, how to identify an object in a sentence, how to identify a complement in a sentence. Complements are of two types, subject complement and object complement. What is transitive verbs? A verb that requires an object to complete the sentence is called a transitive verbs. And a transitive verbs may take two objects, direct object and indirect object. A direct object answers the questions what, and indirect object answers the questions whom. Most of the indirect objects are in the form of persons only. And then you see another type, say intransitive verbs. The verbs which does not require an object is called intransitive verbs. And then verbs of incomplete prediction. So with all these things, today's class comes to an end. Look here children, so you should know how to identify an object, how to identify a complement, how to identify an adjunct, how to frame sentences by using all these things. I hope all of you have understood well the object, all of you have understood well the complement, types of complement and everything. Thank you children, have a nice day, and try to complete all the exercises given in your grammar book, and I will give you answer for all the exercises in the grammar book in the next class. So don't fail to view the video classes children, and observe the video classes, and just to make a note of it, and make it note down in your classwork note, and write down everything. And whenever you have doubts, you have every right to call me and you can get it clarified. Thank you children, have a nice day.